We are live 364 days a year.
What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels, better than Okada.
How do you not get sushi after Monday Night Raw?
What is up, wrestling fans? Good evening from Swansea. I am your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. It is a Monday, and it is a Mailbag Monday. We are going to be answering some of your hottest takes to do with the sport of professional wrestling. But before we get into those, I have to introduce today's panel, and let's kick things off with a man who I genuinely think has done more podcasts in this past year than anybody else in professional wrestling media. He is also, right now, the most hated man in professional wrestling media after his take on Ricky Saints winning the NXT Championship. How are you, Clark?
I'm doing well. I don't think quite the most hated man. There was some love.
No,
on
you
that.
are.
I don't know. It's up there. We'll see.
No.
I don't think it's really a contest. But either way,
it is. You win it.
I lost Sunday Funday, but I win this one. Happy mailbag, though. I'm stoked. Let's get into the show.
I'm not sure if you've seen the comments on today's Wrestling Public podcast. Make sure to check that out after this. But on the promotions we were doing for it, on like every social media, the replies were, I don't want to watch Clark complain on a Monday morning. And every time I was like, actually, guys, watch it because we argue with him. And guess what, Clark? It brought in views. So look, it's all a positive at the end of the day. But also joining us today, we have a man who can always find the positive in a lot of things, almost everything. A fantastic guy to podcast with. How are you, Des?
I love the introduction. That was good. I gotta say, it's a lot nicer than past introductions where, the most like the minorities, not the best Swansea, the Cowboys fan. So this is pretty good. But yeah, man, it's Mailbag Monday. We got a lot of takes from you guys. I'm excited to dive into it. This is the good one, man. I'm excited.
I mean, I do have to just say, though, Des, right, out of anywhere, and I'm a big fan of Swansea, right, but out of anywhere in the world which could have a place named after it in America, Swansea is a wild shout, right? To be the B-Tech Swansea, that's a little bit of a
should have called it
move.
New Swansea. That'd be hilarious.
New Swansea, yeah.
Like
I actually think it originally might have been.
I think
Swansea.
it actually was, yeah.
Yeah.
Sick.
But without further ado, let's get into the mailbag because we have a question from a hot take from @London_raised who says The Rock deliberately screwed the John Cena farewell tour. I mean, look, this is a massive hot takes out of the gates, right? Clark, I want to get your take on this one.
I mean, he may have had a hand in why it didn't go very well, but like the idea of him self-sabotaging with as much skin as he has in the game on the board of directors of the WWE and intentionally hurting his own product that he has a hand in it just seems absurd to me. I deliberately, absolutely not. Did he probably play a role in it not going well? Yes, but I don't think his intentions were, watch me ruin this John Cena retirement tour. That just seems absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't benefit the product in any way to do that on purpose. And I just don't see The Rock being, I think The Rock's too competitive to self-sabotage like that. You know what I mean?
That's the thing, though, Clark, right? Because, to be clear, guys, I don't believe this for a second, but I am going to play devil's advocate here, right? Because we all know The Rock was meant to be the face of the DC universe. It was meant to be built around him, and it failed. He was fired. Went dreadfully wrong. Everyone was making fun of him. His acting career nearly died. It was dreadful for him, right? But then guess who joins the DC? John Cena. Guess who is one of the only DC projects to survive the James Gunn switch? John Cena. So maybe, you just said it, The Rock is competitive. He said to himself, hang on a second, if John Cena's succeeding, I don't want him to succeed in WWE. I am going to screw him over right now, and I'm going to make it my life's work to ruin his retirement tour. He definitely didn't say that at all, did he, Des?
No. Honestly, out of every scenario I thought of in my head to talk about, that was creative. I was not expecting it to go in that way, but I guess it does make sense. This is a topic, though. Well, look, The Rock, I get it. He had a lot of criticism. He didn't show up. If there's one person to blame for this, I feel like it's not just The Rock. For me, it's WWE and Nick Khan. Because The Rock said, unless he's lying, which would do nothing for him in the future because the truth always comes out, he said he was simply at Elimination Chamber because ticket sales were low, right? So there's two problems here for WWE. One, you probably didn't need The Rock. If The Rock was never going to be involved in this storyline moving forward, he should have never been there. I get ticket prices, but still, here's what you do. You lower the ticket prices because Elimination Chamber, those tickets were very high, or you had a month. And WWE now has like 2 weeks to build a pay-per-view. They had a month to build a great pay-per-view, which to me, honestly, I liked it. The Elimination Chamber card, I thought was great, but that wasn't the case in the ticket sales, so they were struggling there, so they had to bring The Rock in. What they should have done for this John Cena heel turn is they should have, if The Rock was never going to be committed to this, right? And if he was committed to this and it never worked out, then yeah, it's on him because he was the one that said he'd be committed. If he was never going to be there, they should have done it in a way where they wrote him off TV, where there was no way he was going to come back. Because when the turn happens, you're thinking, oh, The Rock, he's got to be involved in this, right? Because we need answers. We never got answers, right? It's like, yeah, if The Rock isn't there, you got the Band-Aid, you peel it off, right? Yeah, it's going to sting for a bit, but it's like, okay, no, they kept the Band-Aid on. They kept expectations rolling because it's all about the media moments. It's all about the viral moments. That's what's more WWE is going for right now. So for The Rock ruining Cena's tour, the sole reason, absolutely not. It's on WWE. But The Rock, if he did play a part in this, yeah, of course, I think he did play a part.
The Band-Aid analogy there, that got me good. That's gold.
Yeah, I mean,
but Donnie in the comments says, I think WWE wanted to try something different creatively with John. They realized it didn't work and then they pivoted. I completely agree with that. I mean, ultimately, the thing here is I genuinely think this Cena heel turn, the way they did it, would have been pretty much the exact same failure, even if they got rid of the Rock part, because the Rock part was bad, don't get me wrong, but I don't think that is the sole reason why this heel turn failed. It's just none of it felt very thought out. All of it felt rushed. It felt like they didn't really have a plan for it. And now he's turned back face. At least it's a bit better because it feels more natural. But again, it kind of feels rushed and like there's no plan for it, Clark.
It just feels like we almost like ran out of time. Like because of the gap there. Like it was just like, oh shoot, wait a minute. Now we're too close to the end and I don't know anymore, right? I like being surprised in wrestling, but this is going to have to be all surprises now, right? And half of it, they just tweeted, guess who's going to wrestle John Cena now? AJ Styles.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
Like, it's brutal. It's a brutal spot to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, The Rock, if he was involved in the heel thing, I think it would have looked different. I don't know how much it would have helped it, though, because then what's the end game there? Cena turns back babyface on The Rock at some point, or how do we get to that end game? I just think, yeah, it was here's the worst part is the turn itself, the moment was electric. It was one of the most exciting moments of the year. I was losing my mind. It just, there was nothing after it tagging with Logan Paul, like just, even if you had The Rock not in the arenas, but somehow playing a role off screen, whether it be like talking about what Cena's going to do that's heelish, on the show, some involvement would have been great. The fact that it just became none right away, like you see him, why did he count to 3? What's with the counting? Now, like, there's just so many.
Somebody's saying that in the comments over on Instagram too.
Yeah, why was he counting? What was he counting?
It's absolutely crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
some people are saying, and Samir.30 saying it over on Instagram, imagine Rock versus Cena in his last match. I mean, look, if they actually did that as part of the storyline, I wouldn't hate it because at least they could make it all make sense. But to your point, Clark, I don't actually think there's enough dates left for any story for his retirement match other than, and we'll get onto this, Brock Lesnar to actually make any sense. And that's really frustrating. But Donnie's got another great point here saying, at Elimination Chamber, I said there was no need to turn him heel because it was the first time in his career that everyone was cheering for him and they went for shock and it didn't work. You're bang on right.
Bang on.
It was
That's right.
unnecessary. And for that point, it was shocking because nobody thought they would do it because it made no sense. But there was a reason why it didn't make any sense, and we all found that out as time went on. And I've been very vocal about this. WrestleMania 41, the ending, the main event. I had some friends over who haven't watched wrestling that often in recent years, and they were so disappointed. They said to them it was a worse main event than WrestleMania 32, which back in the day when they were watching, they hated. They said it was just absolutely dreadful. It made no sense, and they just kind of wished that the main event didn't even happen.
I mean, it was odd in the building. It definitely, there were a lot of like sad and disappointed kids leaving the main event. I have to admit, which was just a wild sight to see. Like the amount of dejection at not only like it not necessarily delivering bell to bell, but also the result being the heel Cena winning. It was just an odd scene leaving night 2, no doubt about it. Especially after the way night 1 went. But I don't even know if The Rock's involved, if that helps that.
Exactly.
No.
I don't think it
I
does.
mean, listen, if Travis Scott wasn't involved in that, I'll tell you what, that would have helped that.
Yeah,
But
I agree.
But it was just
I don't get
completely
it
awful.
because like you guys made a point, right? It's like in the Unreal documentary, right? They were saying, you know, we planned a John Cena heel turn. It's like, did they have a plan afterwards? It was just like, okay, like Donnie said, we're going to do it for the shock and then we'll figure it out afterward because they had this whole strategic thing, right? Nick Khan, Cody Rhodes, John Cena, Travis Scott, The Rock, all in on it. Like, was the plan, if The Rock was never going to show up, did WWE really think in their head that a 180-pound rapper helping John Cena win the never seen 17 championship was the right idea? Because if that's the case, I don't know, man, because that's bollocks. And
It's
that's
crazy to think that that's John Cena's last WrestleMania match. That's crazy for me to think about.
Yeah.
It is.
It
He
absolutely
came out with
is.
no Titantron.
Oh, I love that. No, I
did
love
too.
that.
No, that's what makes it funny
Yeah.
to me, though, is I love that part of the character, too. But when we look back in history, like 10 years from now, and you forget about the run, and you're like, what's up with no Titantron? Like,
That's true.
it's not going to age as well as it made sense, actually. That was like one of the few heel turn things that made sense.
Yeah.
But if you just threw somebody in there, they're like, wait a minute, what's with the no Titantron? Like, why? In his last Mania match, if you don't know about the run or what's going on.
Exactly.
There's an old saying, right? And it's that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And I think that's exactly what happened with this heel turn at the end of the day. And it really is frustrating. And I didn't even know this, but DCX Warlord is saying the only person who loved the heel turn is Ignacio. I actually didn't realize Ignacio was a fan of that, but
I mean, I liked it at first.
I
but
liked
then
it too.
Very quickly did it go. I guess I liked the moment because I just
everyone liked the moment.
I loved it.
Until after the moment.
Yeah. Exactly.
But oh my gosh, Clark. Oh my gosh. Fernando saying, I stand with Clark about Saints winning the NXT Championship.
Yes.
These Clarkisms
Fernando.
can't continue, right? Because we've got people now just hating on Cody, hating on Ricky Starks. We're getting people fired because of things you're saying on this show at this point. It's absolutely hilarious, right? Not hilarious, it's the opposite of hilarious. It's devastating. And we'll get on to Karrion Kross a little bit later on because I do think you have to take some of the blame for that as well.
Yeah,
but
we'll get
first
him
of
too.
all, we have to answer this next question because this next one is from at the _Street Profits Club over on Instagram, who says the number of veterans in wrestling is holding back younger talents from fully getting over. And I completely and utterly agree with this. I've been saying it for years and nobody's been taking me serious for years. that there's a significant lack of wrestlers, top wrestlers in WWE, or even stars who are being developed into top stars who are in their late 20s to early 30s. Everybody right now is either early 20s or early to mid to late 40s. It is absolutely ridiculous. I believe I saw the percentage the other day. I think it's like 78% of the main rosters over the age of 42. I mean, that is like, look, at the
Sounds
end
like
of the
Attitude
day,
Era.
in
Yeah.
5 years' time, I'm worried for the business. I really, really am. I'm worried for WWE because in this day and age, it's not like the Ruthless Aggression era, because that was similar where they had to suddenly, make some stars. It's a lot harder to make stars in this day and age, right? Because they're a much bigger company now across the world. It takes years to develop stars. So I think they've really put themselves in a difficult place here because, yes, Braun Breaker and Obafemi, they're going to be big deals. Yes, Carmelo Hayes is being built up as a mid-carder. Trick Williams too. But outside of that, when it comes to the men's side, there's very few stars. Women's side, I would not say it's anywhere near as much of an issue. But on the men's side, Clark, I would. But what's your thoughts?
So I would say that this is also kind of a nuanced question when it comes to this, because I don't think it's directly that veterans are holding back younger talent. And I mean, you look at like NFL quarterbacks, everyone was like, what are we going to do when Brady and Rodgers and Roethlisberger and Manning all retire? And it's like, well, Patrick Mahomes comes along and Josh Allen comes along and there's someone there to fill the shoes. So I'm not as worried about that, Ben, because I mean, even you go back to the Ruthless Aggression era and the start of that, right? You got Vince McMahon out there begging someone to step up. Well, a bunch of people did and filled those spots at the top of the card. I do think if there was one slight issue when it comes to the veterans, potentially holding back younger talent, it feels a lot right now like a lot of veterans working with veterans as opposed to working with younger talent, maybe lower on the card, wherever it may be. And what I'd like to see is maybe spread out the veteran talent throughout the card more from both WWE and AEW. So you have some of the younger talent that, the perfect example, I loved Friday night, obviously, Javon Evans getting the opportunity to wrestle a Sami Zayn, a veteran like that. Things like that are important for bringing along younger talent too and building stars. And I think the industry's in a good enough position right now that I'm definitely not worried about it for 5 years, Ben. That somebody will step up. Somebody's going to grab the proverbial brass ring and step up.
But we don't need somebody. We need 78% of the roster to step up. Where are these talents going to come from? We've got to basically just refresh the entire roster.
I don't think it's that bad. I really don't. I mean, Javon Evans, the name I just mentioned, you mentioned Obafemi, you mentioned Braun Breaker. You've also got, there's talent in their 30s that can break out in their late 30s.
That's what I mean. There's 40s. Not many in their 30s.
That's not an issue.
Pete Dunne is another one. That's about it.
I think there's more depth. I mean, you got Trick Williams is still young and developing. You've got this whole program where there's a bazillion people signed. Somebody is going to step up and be the star to fill those.
I agree somebody's going to be the star, but what about all the mid-card stars?
We're not going to run out of people, Ben. This is ridiculous.
I think we are.
We are not running out of people, dude.
I think we're going to run out of mid-carders who fans care about. Let me say that much. We're not actually going to run out of wrestlers, but I think we're going to run out of mid-carders who fans are invested into, because I think they're going to have to suddenly create a ton of stars out of nowhere. And people aren't really going to know what their why is. They're not really going to get attached to them or anything like that. And I also think that the lack of time that the people like the Carmelo Hayes are getting on WWE programming, because of the amount of time that people in their mid to late 40s are getting, is also harming their development too, right?
I think that's a bad example, because now you've got him working alongside Miz, who is a veteran, and helping bring him along. And that's where...
Okay, yeah, well, there's always, one or two should be there. I'm not saying everybody on the roster should be that age, but I'm just saying 78% should not be over the age of 42. That is bad.
I mean, it is an older roster, but I mean, go back and look at the stats during the Attitude Era on what that would have been when it comes to over the age of 42. I bet it was worse. I bet it was in the 80s.
Dude, Hulk Hogan. Look, here's the thing. Here's the thing with Hulk Hogan, right? Why was Hulk Hogan around? Because the casual fan knew who Hulk Hogan was. If this is the question that I think should be asked, not are veterans holding back young talent, are casual fans holding back young talent? Because when people go to see wrestling, they're not trying to see the Javon Evans, the Carmelo Hayes. We are, because we watch everything, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, right? They're trying to see the Jey Usos, the John Cenas, the CM Punks, Randy Ortons, Rhea Ripley's. That's what more the casual fan base wants to see. And that's what WWE is going more into, because those are the fans willing to pay the tickets, and it's the mainstream audience.
But you just made a brilliant point, Des. Rhea Ripley's the perfect example here of a young talent who was showcased when they were not a star, were given TV time in their very early 20s, bang, by their mid-20s now, right? Because she's actually one of the youngest stars on the roster still, Rhea Ripley.
Right, but she
That
was
is how
able to
bad
get
it is.
over.
She's been around now for what feels like 10 years, and she's one of the youngest stars on their roster. That is why you give the younger stars time. I'm not saying veterans shouldn't be on TV because they need to be, because your point, they're the ones who sell the tickets. But the point is, that should be 25%, 30% of the roster. Then 70% of it should be people 35 and younger. I'm not saying like
all
young,
green.
young.
That's like, we might as well just paint the ring green.
No, it's not. I mean, look, you're even saying, right, and I haven't done the math, so I can't pretend to know it, right?
Yeah.
When me and you have gone back and watched WCW, the old WWEs and stuff like that, every time during the middle of the show, there's stars who are very early on in their career in their early 20s. Nowadays, you watch WWE programming, and that's never the case. Like Carmelo Hayes, mid-30s, well, early to mid-30s, he's one of the youngest stars.
I think also your 30s is still pretty darn young.
No, it is. I'm saying that's the age they're worried about. Young 20s, they've got people in NXT. It's the 30s. And the reason for this, and I've said it for years, I said it at the time, and Vince McMahon seemingly agreed. The issue of NXT Black and Gold was they were signing too many people in their late 30s. So by the time they were in the main roster, they were in their 40s. And then bang, they ended up with an entire roster of people that age instead of actually calling up younger stars. Who will now be in their 30s.
31, by the way.
He's about to turn 32. I corrected myself there. I did correct myself there. I said mid-30s and I went early 30s. I did correct myself there, right? And this is what I agree with. Heat Check saying new talents held back by the lack of character depth too, by not having the wiggle room to express themselves through character. That's exactly what I mean. Give them more time, because bang on is the point here, right? I
agree with it, but I just
got a
don't know if
whole
it's going to be
show
enough for
for him.
tickets.
It's called NXT on Tuesday nights.
But there's his point. People aren't always watching that.
Well, they should.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, I agree.
They're not calling. Trick Williams should have been called up a year ago.
After.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all this, but that's the thing, man. It's like people, the casual audience, they want to see the big stars. So if you let's say if we had if I went to ask someone right now, right, and this is no disrespect, if I went and said, would you want to pay $300 to see Rhea Ripley main event or Io Sky? The casual fan will say Rhea Ripley. We'll say Io Sky because Io Sky is fantastic and Rhea
I'd
is
say
too.
Rhea Ripley. No, but I'd say Io Sky. I'm playing.
But that's my point. Is that's why they focus on those stars. Rhea Ripley is younger, but she has it. She has that.
But that's what I mean. But she has it because she's been given the TV time for it. There are so many people who have it and just don't get the TV time. I mean, come on, Swerve Strickland's another perfect example. They let him slip through the cracks. No. They let him slip through the cracks because instead in NXT they were focusing on people in their late 30s. Guess what? All those stars in their late 30s are now in their early 40s. Swerve Strickland's just turned 30. He's in AEW, killing it.
He is. I agree. It's just WWE such a mainstream casual audience. That's the thing, man. That's why you got to know. Like for us, we're hardcore fans. Most of the hardcore fans are online.
You keep giving Rhea Ripley as an example, and that's the perfect example of somebody who wasn't known, was put on TV at a young age, and became known, and now look, she's going to make them bucket loads of money for the next 15 years. Bucket loads.
I agree. It's because she is a draw. That's the thing. Like she is a draw. Like I like Braun Breaker, man.
But you become a draw by being on TV. You're not a draw before you're on TV. You have to be on TV.
I didn't learn to draw on TV. I learned to draw in school, Ben.
That's what I mean. Like it's like if this was AEW, it'd be a lot different because it's a very hardcore fan base. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. It's just there's WWE shifting very mainstream right now. That's why you're having those people like Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins still here.
Yeah, but they were called up in their late 20s.
Yeah, I agree.
This is why all these people are stars. CM Punk, mid-20s. Seth Rollins, mid-20s. Roman Reigns, mid-20s. Dean Ambrose, mid-20s. Let's give some more names. Randy Orton, early 20s. John Cena, mid-20s. All these people were called up at that age. That's how they became stars. That's how they ended up drawing money for WWE for years and years and years to come. Yes, there are exceptions to this rule. Everybody loves to mention DDP over and over again. They are exceptions and they're a real thing. Well, the fact is, the rule of thumb at this point is seemingly nobody is getting a push until they're over the age of 38. And therefore, I am worried about this industry in 5 years' time. I really, really am.
That's fair. That's fair. I understand that. Because I agree with you, man. I want to see the younger talent do their thing, but I always look at it from a casual aspect. That's the thing. It's just...
It's not a casual thing. It's not a casual thing at all.
It's
casual
formal.
fans know about people when they've been on TV long enough.
Black tie formal, Des. Remember, wear a suit next time.
Right.
Or a Hawaiian shirt. I know.
Ryan Lamb is backing me up over on Instagram, right? That's all I
course
need
he
on
is.
this one. But
Packers fan.
let me tell you guys about what's going on at Wrestling Republic this week. Because on Monday, today, the Wrestling Republic podcast is out now. Me, Shard, and Clark, we get into it. We get heated. Probably our best episode to date. I had a theory about why this NXT TNA Invasion show is happening, so make sure you check it out. Tomorrow, I've got Allison Analysis reviewing Raw. Make sure to check that one out. And then on Wednesday, I'll be giving the second part of my WrestleMania 42 predicted card. Thursday, we're going to be doing the top 10 AJ Styles matches. Friday will be the top 5 takes of the week. And then on Saturday, it is Allison Analysis. Make sure to check them all out. I think we might have to acknowledge this comment at this point, right? Because this guy was firstly commenting it over on YouTube. Now he's gone over to our Instagram. He's commented it 7 times while I've been talking about this, actually. And he keeps saying, why doesn't Stephanie the Care wear full pants? I think you can ask that question about like every wrestler ever. What wrestlers wear full pants, really? Very few.
I saw her at the airport one time and she was wearing sweatpants, so I don't even understand the question.
Well, there we are. It's answered for you, Shiva_DFT. There we are. Right. And there's a comment here.
They were Adidas.
I do not have a fear about turning 30, right? I want to
definitely
make that
afraid.
clear.
Absolutely.
I do not have a fear about turning 30.
That's a fact. That is the call of the day, Donnie.
I do not. But
Ben
what I
thinks
do
life
have a
just
fear
ends
about
after 30.
is this business declining in a few years. That's what I can't.
That's fair.
As soon as
what
I
I
turn
can't
40,
have.
Ben's gonna check me into a retirement home. I just know it.
Just straight in.
Hey,
Give
don't
them
still
a
be
call
a
up.
heel.
All right,
Cody
old
Rhodes.
man. He just wheels me in there.
He's like, that rookie Saint, he's still NXT champion. I remember when he was
Clark.
a champion.
Time to put you out to pasture. You've aged out of this.
It's like Toy Story. I don't want to play with you anymore. And he throws me away.
Talking about aging out of things, let's talk about somebody who aged out of WWE, because the next question is from @thewoods3984, who says WWE fans have proved with their silence that Karrion Kross has only one believer in his ability, and that person is Karrion Kross. A massive hot take here, but Des, I want to get your thoughts on it out of the gates.
I wouldn't say just Karrion Kross, but it's true. When I went to Monday Night Raw, it was Boston, I want to say. It was like sometime in July, before Seth got her Saturday Night Main Event. The fans were chanting, man. They were saying, "We want Kross." It was loud. It was thunderous, but it just seems like it's kind of fizzled away. And I'm not going to lie, I think it's like, I don't know. Maybe it's because WWE has so many big stars, right? Because when R-Truth was there, fans wanted him, and they wanted him so bad. We want truth. We want truth. We want truth. But that kind of happened, and then it just kind of fizzled away. I think WWE just like saw Karrion Kross as just another guy, and they're like, well, all right, it is what it is. To me, I don't know. It's such a weird dynamic because you would think for a fan base that really wanted him back, right? They would keep fighting and fighting and fighting, but it just just kind of went away, right? He has documentary, made an appearance. I think it was GCW, if I'm not mistaken. I might be wrong about that. And then really hasn't been brought up much. I mean, there's been like, speculation, like, oh, maybe Cross comes back and Scarlett comes back at some point. But it's not like there's not that big push, right? Where like Cross was its prophet, right? And people want to see what he want to talk about. And now it's just like, all right. It was fun while it lasted, but here we go. Like, it is strange. It is strange.
No, I mean, I do think you're exactly right there, Des. And of course, now in the independent scene, he's actually teaming with the Righteous, as we now know was originally meant to happen in WWE. That was meant to be an extension of the Wyatt Six. What are you laughing about,
He's
Clark?
the ex-warlord with the comment of maybe the year. It's like Air Bud. That got me so good.
Like
if you haven't
I don't get it.
If you haven't seen the movie, the reference is just
It's been a
golden.
while.
It's about
What
a golden
movie?
Air Bud is a golden retriever that plays sports. It's a kid's movie from the 90s.
Yeah. It's an actual movie. There's like Space
There's like
Buds.
7 of them. Air Bud
There's a
plays
lot.
hockey, he plays soccer, he plays basketball.
Pretty cool
There's
dogs.
honestly the baseball one. The fact that he hits with the bat in his mouth is pretty impressive. That
Hebrews can't even
Fair
do that.
play.
Unbelievable.
Fair
Yeah.
play.
And you should see this dog hoop too. It's pretty wild. This thing has hops.
Yeah.
But look, at the end of the day, Des, I think you did say it perfectly. Everybody cared about him so much, and it was just after the R-Truth thing too, where I think fans kind of thought that they could control the product, and I think that is important. But at the same time, I always, do say that if a booker's got a vision, sometimes they do have to stick to it, right? You need to find the balance between listening, but also doing what you think is best. And while I'm going to be honest, I do think Karrion Kross deserved a new contract. Sometimes in life, you don't get what you deserve. And unfortunately, I do think that was the case here. But I do think, though, this is what I will say about this comment. He has been selling very, very well on the independent scene. His meet and greets have been selling out like that. Tickets to the shows he is being announced for are selling like that, right? So he's proving his worth, and I think he is also charging a lot for appearances too, right? So I do think he is completely... I do think he's still hot, basically. I just don't think that, he's maybe as hot as certain people thought he was. But he definitely does have believers to answer this question.
It's weird, kind of like after obviously I've seen him pop up a little bit with the independent stuff, but it's not like I've gone to like a meet and greet. Like after the documentary and like that week sort of passed, it almost to me became like a out of sight, out of mind thing. Like somebody has to
you
bring up
buried it as
Karrion
it was
Kross
happening.
about it.
You
Yeah.
actually said that they should not re-sign him
I did.
because he's not relevant enough and everyone's going to forget about him. You
I
did say
agree.
that.
That
and
was
it
what
happened.
I kind of think that I hate to say I was right, but
Yeah.
Put that on a poster. Get somebody else fired as well. But anyway,
sorry, Ashanti.
I still feel bad for the man. He said
Poor
that he got
Ashanti the
fired.
Adonis.
Oh, that
A
was one of
week
the
later.
oldest one-liners, and he gets released the next week. I felt terrible.
Dreadful. Anyway, up next, guys, we have a question to close up Mailbag Monday from @James_McGrath_20, who says Brock being Cena's final feud is a good thing. Of all Cena's rivals, Brock is hands down the most vicious. Despite Cena's limited time, I can see them using that to their advantage to tell a small storyline of Cena getting won over Brock. This is an interesting take. And Des, I want to get your thoughts on it out the gates.
Okay, look. Does it make sense? Yes. Is it the right thing to do? Yes. Here's the cardinal sin. I don't want to watch it. Like, that's the cardinal sin. Does it make sense that John Cena lost at WrestlePalooza and Brock Lesnar got the big win and then they fight in his last match and John Cena overcomes what he's done all his career, overcome hate, never give up, big match John, whole 9 yards? Yes, it makes sense. Would Roman Reigns winning the Royal Rumble in 2015 make sense? Yes. Did him facing Brock Lesnar make sense? Yes. Here's the issue. I don't want to watch it. That's the thing. I don't want to see it because I feel like there's other stuff we can do with it. In terms of getting the perfect story, yeah, this makes total sense, right? I'm not going to look at this with rose-tinted glasses. I understand there's a story here. The problem is I don't want to see it. That's the thing. What about you guys? Do you want to see this? And it does make sense, but do you want to see it?
Here's the thing, Des. I actually, once again on this one, do completely agree with you because, like this comment actually, this submission actually does say, right, there are only a few dates left, and it's realistically going to be impossible to tell a story, or at least a good story, during that time. So, with that said, Lesnar is actually, from a storyline perspective, the most logical pick. But to your point, I don't want to see it. I don't think the majority of fans want to see it. I mean, everybody came out of WrestlePalooza and they were in tears about it practically, right? And not in a good way, not in a Roman and Cody way where they wanted to see it happen again so Cody could win. I think everybody's wanted to forget it happened and moved on. I've always said I kind of do want it to be a younger star, and I'm not getting back on the age thing again, right?
Oh, goodness gracious.
But I'm thinking
can of worms. I thought we already did this.
Back into the nursing home Clark goes.
I don't necessarily think it should be like a Braun Breaker or Obafemi, but just even a Gunther, right? Somebody who's going to be here for the next few years who can, really fill that top role right now. Gunther, I do actually think would be a great pick for this.
Me too.
But, I mean, look, I think it could well be Lesnar, and I think it probably will be Lesnar. But, Clark, I want to get your take on this one.
Yeah, there's logic. It makes sense that it would be Lesnar. Selfishly, and this isn't even this is just me selfishly, I would like the opponent for Cena's final match to be someone he can have a longer match with. I think he and Brock can have a longer match than they did at WrestlePalooza, but it's not going to be like a Cena final epic. It will be more of a sprint, and that style of a match that we've seen Brock wrestle, especially in recent years. And even at the size he came into Palooza at, I don't know how long you can move around that muscular. I just went back and watched the Cain Velasquez fight from the UFC. He gassed out in about a minute and a half, and he's double that size at this point and 48 years old, speaking of age. Shout out to you on that one, Ben. But I would prefer it be someone else, but once again, feels like we ran out of time, so it's probably got to be Brock. Donnie, I see your comment there saying I think John and Brock will go 17 minutes plus, and it'll be way better than people are expecting. I would love that. I think that'd be awesome if they just knock down, drag out, went all out at 17 minutes would be solid. If you could almost guarantee me that before it happened, I'd be more inclined to be okay with Brock as the final opponent. But I would also just prefer, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of too late to do Orton again. It's too late. Obviously, there's the Edge whispers. That's not happening. That's a joke. I actually like this comment also, though, from Heat Check with Shane. Fatu is who I said in April, my friend. Even before that, actually, I think I said in February that I thought Jacob Fatu was the logical final opponent for John Cena. But it just, I don't know how we get there at this stage.
Yeah.
That's my
that is a great shout as well. Fatu, another one. Gunther, Fatu, Obafemi, Braun Breaker. I mean, Braun Breaker, I don't think would make any sense at this point. Yeah, but all of those are ones which, could happen, and I still think should happen, to be honest with you. But I think we just at a point now where we're just going to have to admit it's going to be a bad story to finish it off, and at least hopefully can elevate somebody. DCX Warlord says Austin Theory. That is another one which, by the way, if they built it, and I mean, they would have had to have done a proper good storyline. Yeah. I'd have liked to see. Way too late now, not happening. Carmelo Hayes is another one. Joe Hendry, I would have loved to have seen in Scotland when he was in Scotland, as an open challenge or something. That could have been fun, but I don't think, unfortunately, it's going to happen now. Ryan Lamb thinks The Rock is going to defeat Brock Lesnar. I mean, that would be absolutely shocking. But Donnie says nostalgia is the way to go, and that has to be his final match. Fernando says the Lesnar story makes a lot of sense for Cena, as it was Brock Lesnar who helped create the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick. True. And it was that gimmick that put Cena on the map to become a huge star.
Well, I mean, think about that. The initial name for the attitude adjustment, the FU, was a joke on the F5. There's a lot of truth to that comment there. That was making fun of the F5. I still wish they'd go back and call it that again. I love that they did that.
They can.
Well, and the STFU too. It was perfect.
It worked for his character.
We got to give him a submission. Add a U to STF.
Look, the only way I'd be okay with this is if it was Lesnar's final match too, and they just both went out with each other. I'd be okay with that, but it's not happening. But that would be the only way where I'm like, that's quite, poetic. But I think Lesnar needs wins because he's just come back, so he needs wins, And I think Cena, doesn't need to lose to Lesnar again.
No.
But hey ho,
With
one
you.
last comment we'll answer before we go, and that is from Donnie once again, because he says when Ben sees a wrestler with grey hairs, he has a panic attack. I don't know if you know this, Donnie.
Oh wow, he's gonna show him.
Oh man.
I don't know if you can see on the camera. To be fair,
Yeah, he's
I've
gonna.
got grey hairs. I've got tons of them.
Oh my goodness.
It's
The
his-
He's already
stress of
coming
running
out.
Wrestling Republic.
23-year-old stress case.
Yeah. Just
I love
happens,
that.
right? I'll be checking myself into a retirement home before long. But we've got some news because Donnie De Silva says this
Yeah.
week's huge pop guest is going to be huge. I know who it is, and trust me, it is huge. Plus, and you is going to be on the round table. Yes, please.
Let's go.
I'm excited for that. Make sure to check it out.
Touch of gray.
All right, thank you, Des. Thank you, Clark,
Thank you.
and thank you to everybody in the comments. You guys have been electric today. We will be back same time, same place tomorrow. Des will be along with Shard and Geordie to talk a little bit of Monday Night Raw. See you guys then. Peace.